They call me Droops. Grew up here in the San Fernando Valley. Work here at Socal Tattoo. And yeah, everything's good. I was born in USC Medical Center, East LA. I lived with my mom and dad, and they split up, and stayed mostly with my dad. Sometimes if getting in a little trouble out here, whatever, they would send me over to stay with grandma for a summer. I went to school 1 year out there. And yeah, kind of back and forth, but mostly right here in North Hills. My family situation was always cool. You know, I got into a lot of trouble as a kid. Juvenile hall and camp and all that stuff. I started messing up pretty young, so a lot of my childhood was in like juvenile hall and stuff like that, camp. But other than that, like I said, at home was always cool. Got a good dad, rest in peace. He passed away, and good mom. Not a lot of money, but it was we always had food and a place to live, so it wasn't bad like that. I kind of grew up in my neighborhood, and it's kind of known as kind of a little bit tougher place, so nobody there has a lot of money, so it is what it is, it was all good though. My mom, what she really did, like secretary, I guess, that type of stuff, and my pops was a school teacher. He's was a teacher at Sepulveda Junior High for a long time. Everybody, knows him, or knew him, and really, really good man. Really good man. That was great man, my pops. I would draw little cards and cartoon stuff in juvenile hall. I would draw it for different homies, for myself, send it home to my mom, birthday cards, Christmas cards, stuff like that. And that's how it started, That's where I first started drawing. And, I was always pretty good at it. So, when someone would ask me, like, hey, can you make me one of those? I'd be like, for real? Okay, cool. Hell yeah, I'll make you one, And, that's how it started. Little pachucos and, you know what I mean? Little borrachos fucking squatted down. You know what I mean? Shit like that, And then, like, cartoon stuff, too, and hearts and flowers for moms and stuff like that. I'm Mexican and Swedish. Yeah, my father's Swedish and my mother's Mexican. I'm the only one in my family that's, like, this white other than my dad, So just as much as I don't look like I'm Mexican, my brother or my sister don't look like they're white, So, and I'm big, they're small, Yeah, it's a trip. So I think I probably got it a little bit rougher than them, but it was an issue growing up, it was an issue growing up, Now it's not so much an issue no more because I don't really give a fuck, It was actually in prison, and people would bug me to tattoo because I would draw, and they would see the drawings. And I remember the first time I ever went to a mainline prison yard. I was there a couple months, and there was an incident where someone got hurt, And I asked one of the older homies, like, hey, what's up with that guy, And he said, oh, that was personal. That was personal. I said, yeah. He goes, yeah, the guy gave him a bad tattoo. And I was, I was like 20 years old. You know what I mean? And I was like, really? yeah, fuck that. I ain't gonna do no tattoos. You know what I mean? That's cool, you know. So people would ask me, and I'd be like, nah, I don't know how to tattoo, you know. And come on, man, if you could draw like that, you could do it, you know. And I don't know how to do it, man, you know. And you know, a little time went by, and so I had a mentor, someone I really looked up to. Like, I'm not gonna say his name, but someone I looked up to a lot, and he gave me a lot of clecha, a lot of schooling, you know. And so one day we're on the yard, and I was first draw, and I was telling him, like, fuck, man, if my money don't get here today, I'm not going to be able to go to the store this month, you know. Fuck, I hope it gets here, you know. And he said, who's sending you money? I said, my dad. My dad, he sends me $40 a month. And he's like, wow, that's nice, man. That's really cool of him, you know. He goes, but let me ask you, did your dad give you $40 a month when you were on the street? And I said, no. And he says, well, then why are you making him give you $40 a month now? And he tells me, I bet you call home all the time too and run up his bill, huh? And I was like, nah, man, you know, but I did, you know. And he goes, look, man, he goes, what'd you do on the street to get money, you know? Do you have a job? I was like, nah, not really. And he said, you hustle, right? And he goes, well, nothing's different. He goes, you just live here now, you know. He goes, hustle here just like you did on the street, you know. And he goes, your family didn't put you in here. Don't do that to them. Leave them alone, you know. And he goes, you know, when someone kicks you down some dope or something, you know, instead of doing it, sell it. You know, sell it $50 paper, and there's your store for the month. Or he goes, you know, do your little cards you do, you know, learn to tattoo. And he goes, but yeah, you know, and he goes, I guarantee you, if you tell your people to stop sending you money, after a while, they're going to be bugging you to send you money. And when you call home, they're going to be happy you called instead of like, oh, fuck, what does this fool want now, you know? And great advice. Great advice. You'll never find anybody in this world from that point that could ever say I called or wrote home and asked them for anything, you know? And yeah, you know, and I was there for a good few, you know, yeah, you know, so I did what he said, you know, and I learned to tattoo, you know, and tattooed on myself, tattooed on my celly, who was also a youngster. And the first time I remember that I was going to tattoo on somebody that wasn't me or my celly, I told him, I said, look, man, I'm going to do it, but if it doesn't come out good, you know, and I'm warning you now, it might not come out good. And if I hear you saying anything about me on the yard, then me and you we're gonna get down, you know. And he was like, nah, no, it's all good, you know, and this and that. So that's how it started, you know. It's actually exactly how it started, you know. So I did it, and they were shitty. I got shitty tattoos all over my legs and shit that, you know, I did myself learning. See that on the wall right there? I know everybody can't see it, but that's a homemade machine, exactly how I would make it in prison. I made it exactly the same way. You know, a Walkman motor, a guitar string, a pen, you know, and 3D batteries, you know, and a wire. Well, people had, you know, Walkmans, and then later on Discmans, you know, when CDs came out, you know. When I was first there, it was still just cassette Walkmans, you know, and Super 2s and then Super 3 radios. And then what were they called? Dream machines, I think. But anything with a tape deck in it, basically. Like that one that I made on the wall right there, I couldn't find a Walkman anywhere out here, so I found an old telephone answering machine, and it has a tape deck in it, you know. So I broke it and got the little motor out, you know, and yeah, then the pen, you know, you have to make the ink, which is yeah, I was pretty good at making the ink. Like a guy who gave me a recipe on making ink, you know, Mine's was a little different. Most people would use baby oil or like VO5 shampoo and soot. Like you burn some sort of plastic and you get the soot and mix it with that and just a little bit of water. But me, I used toothpaste instead of that. And like all my tattoos are that, except for the Sullen badge on my hand. But all these other ones are ink that I made, and I mean, they're still pretty crappy, but I got all these tattoos probably between 92 and 94. And it's held up pretty good for homemade ink over the years. I was going to go over these a few years ago because the ink now out here is so much better, yeah, you get a tattoo now, and if it looks like this, then your artist, the issues with your artist, and people were like, dog, why are you going to go over it? I said, because it's obvious, it's prison shit, and that's actually something that I tried to get over as an artist out here on the streets. Like, no matter what I do, people will look and go, oh, prison artist. And I'll be like, man, fuck that. It's a color piece. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Yeah, he's a prison artist, And, yeah, it's something, I had to just, like someone said, that's you. That's how you started. That's you. Like, why are you going to change it? I was thinking about it and like, yeah, damn, you're right, And same thing with my art, I would do I would do canvases and I would be doing them with acrylic, and I suck at painting, man, and I'd be doing it and that's cool and everything. And then, one day I got tired of it. I got a canvas and I did it in pen, just like I would do a paño or a card or whatever, and it just felt so good. I did the paño. I did the canvas. It looked so much better. And everybody's like, holy shit, you did that with pen? You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, damn, why are you even fucking around with that other shit? And I said, yeah, no shit, huh? This is what I do. You know what I mean? This is what I learned. This is what I'm best at. Why am I not doing it? Why am I trying to do something different? And yeah, so like you'll see some of the canvases, they're just in pen, or I'll mix it with some acrylic. And the last couple ones, they were actually up there, but someone came and bought them. I even used like marker for the black, the really dark spots. I use marker or charcoal, and yeah, it's cool. Honest truth, I only tattooed for a few years in prison, because. Just like it out here on the streets, in there too, you get in trouble if you're fucking around. And in there, when you're fucking around, you go to the hole, And I've heard of people tattooing in the hole, but I've never actually seen it, I've never actually seen somebody with a tattoo machine in either the hole or the shoe, Yeah, most of the SEALs don't give a shit about that, but the reason I say that, the hole or the shoe, you don't really see tattooing because it's a lot stricter. You can't have as many things as on the main line. And if someone's coming back to the hole, would they rather, try to sneak something in that could make you some money or something like that, or would you rather sneak in a tattoo machine? Sneak in something else. So like I said, I've never really I've heard of somebody like tattooing in a hole somewhere or whatever. And, but I've never actually seen it. But what did help me, with my art, like, I went to, Pelican Bay, and, in Pelican Bay, you're not getting much of anything. And the only thing you don't even get a pencil. You get a pen filler. That's just the inside part of the pen. And, we would like roll up paper around it to make it like thick, like a regular pen. And some of the guys would make Bonnaroo ones with a cap and all kinds of shit, But that's all you have is just a pen. Like take the inside part of a pen out and that's it. That's all you get. And paper, And depending on like what pod you're in, there's not a whole lot of patterns neither, you know. So, you know, it's basically like, here's just a plain piece of white paper and here's a fucking inside part of a pen filler. You draw it, do your thing, you know. And it made me better as an artist. Like one of my, you know, as artists, we all have strengths and weaknesses, you know. One of my strengths is being able to draw pretty much anything, like freehand stuff. And so, you know, say someone has some spotty tattoos here and there around their arm and they need someone to fix them and add stuff to it and try to make it look like it was all done at one time, you know. It's kind of hard to do that if you're like going to Google to fill in this little spot, like trying to find a pattern for this little spot, the pattern for that little spot. No, I could just pretty much draw it and you know what I mean? That's one of my strengths as an artist. And it's because of all those times where I had no pattern and you know what I mean? No, nothing to trace or look at and draw, you know. Yeah, sometimes I would have like, you know, my pen and a piece of paper and I'm going to start something and I'd be sitting there like, fuck, what am I going to do? You know, well, I could do this. I did that before. You know what I mean? I've done that 100 times. Like, fuck, what am I going to do? I get frustrated and just leave it. You know what I mean? Watch TV or something, you know? And the next day, come back to it like, okay, what am I going to do? You know, and there's not a lot of room for mistakes when you're using a pen either, you know? And, yeah, and then something, I'll start doing something, and the next thing you know, here it goes. You know what I mean? And I'm into it. Yeah, fuck yeah. You know, I'm doing my thing. And then when that one's done, same shit again, you know, or doing cards, you know, but you got to think of something new for the cards too, you know, regardless what it is, you know. So that helped me, my drawing skills, my art skills a lot, you know, because, yeah, you know, because when I came home and I went to work in a tattoo shop, using the machines out here and is so different than the homemade machines. It was like learning all over again, you know, and yeah, like I didn't apprentice, I didn't do shit. I just went into a shop and it was kind of rough because there was some other artists that were like hater type artists, and so they kind of refused to help me, you know. And I'd be struggling. I'd be like, dude, I'm fucking this tattoo up. Like, help me. No, you got to learn, man. That's how you learn, you know, like for real, you know. And, yeah, this one guy named Ramon in particular, that's all I'm going to say about his name. If he ever sees this, he knows, you know. And I finally lost it on him and beat his ass one day, you know, because he was just like a hater, you know, and it wouldn't help me, man, you know. And if you got bad equipment and it's not running right, you know, it makes it so hard to be able to do anything, you know, no matter how good you are. If your machine is not running right, especially if it's a crappy swap meet fucking coil machine, and that's what I was using, you know, and I'm kind of hard-headed too. Like for a while, I was working around some other dude who wasn't a very good artist, but he had really good equipment, and he would always be bragging about his equipment. And in my mind, I'm thinking, man, I'm gonna tattoo circles around you with this swap meet shit, you know. And so that's what I would do, you know. But still, I'm using this swap meet shit. When I finally used a good machine like a Dridgenberg, I forgot what it was, you know, one of these days, and I was like, holy shit, this is like, whoa. And you know, I changed my attitude when it came to that. Like, get good shit, you know what I mean? Because it's gonna help you, you know. Anything you do, if things are going smooth, you could do it better, you know, than as if you're struggling and sweating and, you know, yeah. So, yeah, those were like lessons I learned, you know. It was a trip, you know, because it was really hard at first, you know. And then when I started, you know, learning the machines and doing good, and then people would be like, "Oh yeah, prison artist," you know what I mean? I'd be like, "Man, fuck you talking about?" You know what I mean? That's a food dog right there, man. Like, what are you talking about, prison art? You know, you know what I mean? And yeah, it took a long time to kind of shake that, and as growing up, one thing too is that I started doing so many different types of art that I never did before, you know, and I was just growing as an artist, and yeah, you know, it's I don't know, you know, one thing I learned, it's real easy to be a scratcher, what we call like someone that's kind of like not very good, or someone that doesn't even really care to be that great. They just want to do tattoos and that cool and make some money, you know, and be like a struggling artist, you know. Fuck that. You know what I mean? I want to do badass tattoos and I want to get better, and I don't want to be a struggling artist. I want to make money, you know, legal like, you know, and yeah, I don't know what I would be doing if it wasn't for tattooing and art, you know. Um, yeah, I don't know what I'd be doing, probably construction or something, you know. But yeah, I mean, this is just what I do, you know, and I'm always trying to get better. You know, I'm pretty good, and yeah, you know, one thing I do now, it's weird. Like over the last couple of years, I've kind of like turned into the fix it man. I'm getting known for being able to fix uh, fucked up tats, and or cover fucked up tats. Like I'll cover things that are people like, Droop, man, are you don't do it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, nah, fuck, I'm gonna do that. Like, and it's a trip too, because especially with some females, you cover a bad tat or fix something on them, and some, it sounds weird, but some girls that like changes their life. You know what I mean? They like freak out. You know what I mean? They're like, I've had one girl just start bawling when I just did an outline over like a scar. You know, like you know them cheese grate. I forgot what it's called. Skin graft type of scar, and really really fine chick. You know, and we were doing like a jungle trip on there, like some lions and you know bushes and shit like that. And we just did the outline on her, and she looked at the outline and just started bawling, you know. And at first I was like, "Oh shit! Like what the fuck?" She's crying, you know what I mean? And she told me she hadn't been worn shorts or a bikini in public in like 8 years because it was on her leg. And I remember I told her like, if you're wearing a bikini, ain't no one be looking at that, you know. And she was cool, but that's when I seen like that was the first one I've seen that very similar things happen a lot of times, and it's a trip, you know. There's so many bad tattoos out there. I do it a lot, you know, a lot, and I could only really do what my clients want me to do, you know. So a few years ago, for like maybe 3 4 years, I was just doing a gang of color work, and I love doing color work. It's so fucking cool. I love, you know what I mean, and I feel like there's levels to it, you know, and yeah, you know, I love doing color work, and now, I mean, I still do color work, of course, you know, but pretty much just do what my clients want to do. So the last few years, the most, you know, and I still do color work. I still, you know, I pretty much work by the session. So most of my clients, they, you know, come back because we're doing like a sleeve or their back or their legs, you know, leg sleeves or stomach, chest, you know, whatever. But yeah, I guess it's getting out there that I could do this pretty good, you know. So yeah, man, I do so much of it, you know. So It's a trip. Like, I'm thankful for all the bad tattoos, but kind of sucks for the people, I feel like if you're go to someone's garage or something to get a $50 tattoo or something like that, and then when it comes out bad, that's on you. I don't feel like no one wants to be burned, but still, you shouldn't be bargain hunting when it comes to getting something on your skin for the rest of your life. Yeah, it's not really the thing to be like. And like I said, no one wants to get burned either. But man, if you want good stuff, you're gonna have to pay. And I try to keep it cool with my clients. And yeah, give them a good price. And like me, I pretty much just book one session a day, and I charge $400 a session, and pretty much keep them, until they tap out or until I tap out, and I usually don't tap out, I'm usually trying to get them to sit a little bit longer, like, hang on, let's just finish. You seen it today, like that, but yeah, so it works out cool. I make my money, and they still get a good deal because I'm not the fastest artist neither. So if I was charging hourly, I'd probably be charging $150 an hour, and I don't feel like my clients would get as good a deal because I'm not the fastest. One of the other guys that works here, he works so fast he can't be charging $150 an hour because he'll be burning himself. He's fast and he's good. But yeah, definitely. Like I said, I have strengths and weaknesses, and like fixing stuff, and like I showed you the picture, I think, of the guy who got a bad tattoo, went somewhere to get it fixed, and the person made it worse, and then by the time he got to me, it was a black blob on his arm. His whole arm was just a blob with little pieces of negative, shading, like just skin sticking out. I was like, what the fuck is that? And so I seen his arm, and I was like, I don't know what we could do with that. And I did another tattoo on him on a different part of his body. And I did some white highlights on there. And there's tricks to white, too. If you don't know them, it's just going to fall out or turn yellow and half fall out and half be yellow, And, I've learned some little tricks to where my white stays, And but on him, it just held really good, really, really good. And so I told him, like, hey, you want to try something crazy? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not guaranteeing this at all. And you really got nothing to lose, But I told him I want to go over it and just black it out. Black it out with, triple black, make it deep, dark, rich black, and then let it heal really good. Let it heal for, a few months. And then come back and go over it with white, and yeah, it's working out pretty bitchin', like you seen, yeah, that's cool, but I don't recommend doing that very often, like the only reason I did it is because just the way I just had a feeling we're going to be able to pull it off of him. Tattoo industry's changed a lot, when I was growing up, there's only one tattoo shop I knew of over on Victory and Van Nuys, and it was a little biker dude, and yeah, I mean, it was, like, crank it up, and they're just tearing into you, and it's a trip. Like in the past, everybody would say the outline hurts more than the shading, and then over the last 10 years, so many more people say the shading hurts more than the outline. And the first time I heard that, I'm like, what, is this dude crazy? And I think I know what it is that people would go so deep back in the day, they went deeper than you needed to. And that's why you see all these old tattoos that are blown out and light and blown out and just not very good, and tattooing has advanced like everything else in the world, so the machines are better, the ink is better, the needles are better, cartridges, you didn't even have cartridges back then. And so the days of the little dude, sit down, boy, and all that are pretty much over. Now you walk into a shop and it's 25, 26-year-old kid that's fucking badass, It's like, damn, this fool's badass. And nowadays, as long as your artist does the job right, you get a tattoo in 20 years, it should basically look the same. If a line blows out, it's because they went too deep, and so that's why, like when I'm tattooing, something I learned is spread the skin properly. And when you spread the skin properly, you don't really need to push it in. I basically kind of just run it over the top of the skin, and that's good enough. And when you're shading, you got to kind of pack it in some spots. So it's kind of like you're going heavier on the shading than you are the outline now, and so it's kind of changed, as it's gotten better. People have figured out you do not have to go nearly as deep as they used to, and it still hurts, now they got all the numbing creams and sprays and all that. But yeah, tattooing, the tattoos have come a long way. And even just with, like people, my clients, I got, like I've worked in Hollywood before. I've worked in hood shops before, where I would do just a lot of script and maybe some Aztec work, Hollywood, it would be tourists, and, yeah, that would pretty much be it, and like, for instance, it would just be like a certain type of people getting tattooed, if someone had a tattoo, they would think they were a gangster or a biker or something like that. Whereas now everyone's getting tattooed, man, I got every walk of life, and I have very little bad guys, whereas before maybe 85% of my clientele was so-called bad guys, and now it's the opposite, maybe even less, maybe 90% of my clientele are so-called good guys, and the 10% is the so-called bad guys, and it's just changed, and there's some people that are always going to look at someone with tattoos in a weird way, and there's nothing you can do about that, If you have tattoos like mine, where it's obvious where I got them, a lot of people are able to see that and be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? It's not shop work. So some people could tell the difference on that too, but it's not nearly as taboo as it once was, And I ain't even bullshitting. I did, years ago, the dude was a minister, and I did a Raiders tattoo on him. What the fuck? I know. He was a fucking minister, and I did a Raider tattoo on his ass. Like, that was crazy. He was a big-time Raider fan. He loved the Raiders, and yeah. At first I didn't know he was a minister, you know what I mean? And, yeah, he was, when he told me, I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I should tattoo you, man, like, for real, yeah. I remember when Jewish people couldn't get tattooed because they couldn't get buried in their cemeteries or whatever, and now there's, I got a whole clientele of Israeli soldiers, like when they take a leave or whatever. In this area, there's a lot of like Middle Eastern people, and yeah. So one time, this one kid came in, and he was an Israeli soldier just out here on vacation, and I tatted him, and then he went back, and I asked him like, aren't you not supposed to be getting tatted, And he was like, I don't give a fuck, And I was like, okay, cool, let's do this. And I guess he told his boys, and you know what I mean. So. And it's been years now, it's, you know, yeah, they'll come in like wanting a tat, you know. The only problem is it's kind of hard to get them in, you know, because these dudes got to go back, you know. So I've been telling them, tell your friends to call like a month before, you know, so I could schedule them, you know, so they could get a tattoo for sure, you know. But for people like that, I'll go out of my way to try to get them in some kind of way, you know, especially soldiers, you know, any kind of soldier. I respect them, you know, Army or, you know, especially our armies and Marines more so than somebody else's, you know. I tried to go in the Army before, but I couldn't get in, you know. But my father was in the Army, you know, he was in the Korean War, you know. So I got a lot of respect for Army people, especially war veterans, you know. I got quite a few, you know, my clientele. And yeah, it's cool, you know, but big difference, you know. High school principal. I mean, I could go down the list of different types of people you would not think were getting tatted that I've tatted, you know, judge, doctor, FBI agents, cops, athletes, fighters, singers, musicians, you know what I mean? Like everything, good thing, you know, especially for someone like me, you know, still some people will look at you funny, you know, but it's not nearly like it was just 20 years ago, you know. And you'll see it like, say, canvas artists and stuff. They'll give tattooers more respect than they used to, you know. Tattooers are some of the best artists in the world, and we don't only just do tattoos. We do other mediums of art also, you know. Yeah, I do all kinds of shit, you know, like whatever sort hair up my ass I get, you know what I mean? I might draw something in pencil or pen or charcoal or acrylic, you know. I don't even fuck with oil because, yeah, I'll do acrylic, you know. Yeah, you know, oil's a whole different animal there. But yeah, you know, like, yeah, art's the shit, man. That's what I do, you know. I remember, okay, when I was getting out, the second time I went to prison, it was for 5 years, and so I get out, and while I was gone, one of my homegirls, she's married to some dude who has a plumbing business. And I told her, hey, ask your husband, or I wrote her, and told her, ask your husband if he give me a job when I get out, and tell him that I only want to work there for a little while. You know, I want to start tattooing again, but I want my parole officer to not see me doing that. I want him to see me doing a regular job. And, you know, just tell him as long as I'm there, I'll work hard and I'll come on time and I'll appreciate it, you know. And so she wrote me back and said, yeah, Simone, it's all good. So that's what I did. I started working as a plumber. And I knew I was going to tattoo the whole time, you know. And I was just kind of taking my time, got some equipment and stuff, and started doing tats, but didn't really tell my parole officer. And then one day I told my parole officer, hey, you know, some of my old clients from before are asking me to tattoo on them. You know, I bought some cheap equipment and I did a tattoo or two at my house. Is that cool? And he was like, yeah, it's cool, you know. So I waited a little while and I said, hey, the guys at the shop said I could tattoo there, you know, maybe a couple days a week. Is it cool if I go there and do it? And he said, well, I'm going to have to go there and look at the shop, you know. And I said, okay, I'm not going to be there all the time. You know what I mean? Just every now and then. So he came, looked, and he was like, yeah, that's cool, you know. And slowly I was like, you know what? I'm making more money doing these than I am plumbing. I just want a tattoo. And so, boom, now I'm back in the shop, you know. It took a little time. But, and it was all good. You know, started making money. And back then, you know, I didn't keep it 100% legal all the time, so I could make a little bit of money here and there hustling or whatever. And me and someone else, we got up enough money and we got a store and opened up a shop, of our own. And it started going really good, and then they hit me with a violation, So I went back, and it was only for 7 months, but it was enough time to fuck up everything I had. But luckily, I was able to sell the shop, So I had that money when I came home, and so I had that money, and when I came home to some other people, like people look out for you, your homies and stuff, and so I did not want to try to do that again while being on parole, and so that's when I went to Hollywood and started working over there and saving money too, and so I was just waiting to get off of parole, and once I got off of parole, we opened this place, and we've been here 12 years now. Socal Tattoo, an art gallery in Tarzana in the valley, and yeah, it was hard at first, really hard at first. I thought I'd be closing, like, you know what I mean? I thought we weren't gonna make it, but nah, man, things get better, it just really matters is you got to have good artists, that are cool people that ain't strung out. And I feel like there's really three things that we need to do here to, be successful and have people come back and then want to tell people to come here. And first and foremost, the tattoo has to be badass every time. It has to be. There is no, oh man, that one wasn't very good, but I'll get it next time. Someone ever came here like that, nobody here would want them here. We would want them to leave. And you have to really care about your tattoos. And like what we teach our apprentices is never skip a step from the beginning part, from when you're going over a pattern with somebody, everything matters, even if it's a little tattoo, never just, this really ain't that hard. I don't need to do that or do this, and if you do that or cut corners or rush through one or, that's kind of like, that's gotcha. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't do that to somebody because they're letting you put them in pain. They're paying you a lot of money, and it's for life, So first and foremost, the tattoo has to be badass every time. And then second, we need to make our money, but nobody wants to get burned either. So give them a fair price and a fair for the artist too. And then third, the atmosphere in the shop. The shop has to be super clean, and then, like, if you're a dude and you walk in, you don't want to walk in and feel like you're about to get beat up or everybody's mad dogging you, not talking to you, or the exact opposite, acting like you're better than this person. You don't got time to talk to them. Or if you're a girl, you don't want to walk in here and feel like everyone's just trying to fuck you. You know what I mean? And so yeah, the atmosphere is big. That's why we have the TVs, and we be putting on the sports, or say someone comes. I don't recommend bringing your kids with you when you get tattooed, but some people have to sometimes. So they could put on cartoons. We got stuff, drawing stuff for kids, anything to keep them fuckers busy. Because it's hard to tell a kid to sit down for 3 hours and don't start no shit. They're gonna blow at some point in time. So just client friendly. And that's one of the things we hear a lot is, oh, we like it here. We like the vibe here. Oh, it's very clean here. If someone walks in, you're not going to last more than 5 or 10 seconds before someone says, hey, what's up, man? You got any questions or anything? And, yeah, no one's going to run up on them. And we have no politics here in the shop. Nobody's competing for walk-ins. Yeah, we pretty much have somebody that does the majority of the walk-ins because me, I'm booked, you know, and one of the other artists he's booked, you know, and you know one of the other artists he's newer, so he's building his clientele, and so we want him to do those walk-ins because that's how he's going to build his clientele, you know, and he's doing really good, you know. He just finished apprenticing like within a year, you know, and he's doing the damn thing, man, you know, and he knows too, you know, this is how you do it, you know. If you can't build a clientele, that says something about you, nobody else, you know. I'll have someone come in and try to get a job, and they've been working in the area for 10 years, and they don't really have a clientele. There's a reason for that, you know, and it's not where he worked or anything like that. It's probably because of that person, you know. Shit, if even I could build a clientele in this area, you know what I mean? You should be able to do it. And we get enough walk-ins to where, you know, yeah, like it's all good, you know. It's all good. But those are the big three things we try to do: the atmosphere in the shop, the price, and then the tattoo has to be badass every time. And as long as we do that, we grow, you know. And that's what's happening, you know. Well, I do it a little bit different here. Yeah, I'm the owner, you know. But before, like, okay, first and foremost, I treat people like I want to be treated. I really try to just, it's just that simple, you know. And every shop I've worked in before, things I didn't like about it, I try to make sure never happens here, you know. We really have no rules, you know. The only rule is don't do something that's bad for the shop. And because it's like that, you have to have the right people. Otherwise, someone's just going to start taking advantage of that right from the start. Like, you can't be late here unless there's a client sitting here waiting for you and you're not here. That's not cool. That's not good for the shop, you know. And everybody here knows better than to do that, you know. But say you had an appointment at 2 and you were done at 6. You got here at 1:30 and left at 6:30. I don't give a fuck, you know. But if there's only like one person here and you leave, just that one person, that's not cool. That's not good for the shop or that person. So don't do that, you know. But if there's a few of us here, nobody cares. Go. There's no, like I said earlier, there's no politics. Nobody's hating on each other here. And like I said, that's why it's really hard to get people that could do that because, you know, people usually will start taking advantage of that sort of thing, you know. And if that happens, I'm not going to get mad or beat them up. I'm just going to ask them to leave, you know. And so that's just the main rule. Everyone knows what we have to clean to keep this place clean. If you see something needs to be hit it, you know. And I don't need to be telling the guys to do it because they already know they do it, you know. Yeah, you know, if it's a trip, you know, because I've met so many people that say, oh man, our shop, yeah, we got no politics, you know, it's all good right there. And dudes are beefing over walk-ins. There's a cleaning fucking thing on the wall, and if you don't do it, you're in trouble, you know what I mean? And people are mad at the other one or stealing clients and crazy shit like that. And I'm like, yeah, I could tell you got no politics in your shop. Yeah, it's cool, you know. And when I tell people that, I know they're thinking, you know, he's probably lying. But nah, man. And when it comes to decisions for the shop, it's a democracy. Ultimately, I could outrank, but it's one thing to say, oh, yeah, it's a democracy, and then make all the decisions. I could get outvoted, and that's cool. You know, I want this place to be a place where you want to go, you don't mind going to, you know what I mean? Like, and like, it's not a party here, but, if you want to party after work, I don't give a fuck, but you can't be strung out on no weird shit here because I don't want you here, you know, like, no one's going to be posted up in the bathroom slamming dope, you know, and, yeah, you know, because when everyone's happy, the clientele, they pick up on it. You know, if you walk in and people are at each other's throats and growling, you pick up on that too. It's a bad energy, you know, and yeah, people feel it. They won't want to come back, you know. If they come in and it's cool and they feel a good energy, they want to come back, you know, and so yeah, it's real easy to say we do it this way, and then I still don't care what they say. We're doing it this way, you know. Nah, it's a democracy, you know. And as far as just business goes, I've learned a lot over the years. I've learned that nobody else goes into business to help you, you know, and I'm not mad at them for it, but one thing about, okay, illegal business is someone burns you or does you wrong, you fuck them up, you know? In legit business is someone burns you or does you wrong. If you fuck them up, now you're going to get burned and you're going to go to jail because they're going to tell on you, you know? And so you have to learn to not open that door for them to burn you, you know? And yeah, you know, people come at you with all different business things, and they're telling you how they're going to do this great thing for your business, and knowing is they're trying to get you to do this because they want to make money off of you, and yeah, so you got to be very careful about what you do, who you do it with. First of all, I recommend they be an artist. Yeah, I recommend they be an artist. You know, a lot of people make the mistake of they got some money, so they think they're going to open a tattoo shop and make a shitload of money, and then they're closed within a year, you know. Yeah, you need to know the industry, you know. And I think the most important thing is to have good artists. I think you could be in a fucking treehouse. If you got Nico Hurtado in a fucking treehouse, people are going to go get tattooed in that treehouse. Granted, he would never be in a treehouse, you know what I mean? But that's true. You know, I could go down a list of artists that same shit, you know, bad motherfuckers I look up to, you know. And you got to have good artists, man. And they also got to be good people too, you know. It goes back to the big three things I was talking about earlier. You could have someone that's a really good artist, but if he's strung out on something, if he's trying to play jailhouse rules, or if he's a condescending prick, you know what I mean? Not good, you know, not good. And what you said about the credit, that's what you don't want to do, you know. Have the money, save the money, wait, you know, and do it yourself. And the big thing, it's the artist that makes all the difference, you know. Right here, Eric and Mason, yeah, you know, bad motherfuckers, you know, and I like that. You know, I've worked in shops where everybody's, you know, I was new to this stuff and trying to get better, and people are looking to me to like learn from, and I'm like, damn, dog, you know what I mean? Like, I need someone to learn from. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's a trip. You know, when you work around people that you respect and you respect their art, and you could learn from. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. At one point in time, I never thought. I mean, I always just figured I would be in jail for life. You know, so did my family and friends, and no one really talks about it anymore because I've been home so long. But people would be like, "Damn, dog, you've been out for a whole year, huh? Yeah, it's crazy, and it was, yeah, until I was 40, I think I had probably maybe a little more than a year of my life on the streets as an adult. All the rest was in prison, and that's not even counting all the juvenile stuff, you know. So everybody was just used to me being gone, including myself. Like, yeah, like I didn't really trip off it. I didn't really care, I just always figured I would, be there, and yeah, when I got out, I got married, and I have two sons. One of them's grown up, and unfortunately, he grew up without me here. And we're cool. He's cool as fuck. I love the shit out of him. Um, but he just, I'm glad he still loves me and stuff because I wasn't here for him. I met him for a few months when he was like 15, and then he's 21 and I'm meeting him. You know what I mean? So that was a trip, And then now I have a 10-year-old who I've been there for everything for him, and I'm not going to make the same mistakes because if I got taken away, it would hurt him bad. And, yeah, it would hurt him really bad. So that's a big motivation to not do nothing that could get me taken back to jail. Because like with whereas before is I didn't even really care. Like I said, I was there most of the time anyways. But like now it's different because like I said, I know how much it'll hurt him, So even that's not an issue no more. I mean, this is what I do. You know what I mean? I'm actually very, very lucky, man. Very lucky. A lot of guys that are in my position, they're looked at like they're no good by their homeboys or whoever, or they have a bad name in the joint, I'm good everywhere, and that's pretty fucking lucky, yeah, everybody that that I've known through my whole life, they're rooting for me, they're proud of me, and what's going on like here, it's not just because of me, like we struggled bad for man, I had so many Bo Diddley ass dudes coming through here, that's, you know what I mean, but until, we got the right crew, and that's when things really started getting better, and then getting more opportunities in this industry, by the top people in this industry. It's very hard to break in with them, and if you're a scratcher, you're not going to, if you're just walking around thinking you're cool, you're not going to, and so, and that didn't just happen just because of me. It happened because of the crew, and yeah, a couple people that ain't here anymore, but they were a big part of making the shop come up, yeah, so like, yeah, pretty cool. Like I said, overall, I just consider myself really lucky, I don't know nobody's shit. You know what I mean? You got to work hard. If you want to be a good fucking tattooer, it's not easy. It's easy to be a crappy tattooer, real easy, But to be a badass tattooer, it's fucking not easy, man. Talented or not, I know some great artists. They could draw anything. They're bad at it, but they can't tattoo, man. They can't learn how to not go too deep. You know what I mean? They're blowing shit out, and it just They just don't got it. And I know some dudes that know how to use the machine. They get tattooed really good, but they can't draw. You know, they're very good at putting a pattern on there and, you know, lining it, which is basically like tracing. You know, there's more to it than just that, you know, but they've learned how to use the machine. They're good with the machine. But someone like that's very limited. You know, those are the ones that are trying to Google, find something for a little ass spot on the arm, you know, because they can't just draw something in there, you know. Yeah, you know, and they don't really care to learn to draw. They're just, you know, they're happy with what they're doing right there. And yeah, but if you truly want to be a badass, it's not easy. Be an artist, you know. Some people will be like, they can't hold a job, you know. They don't really got money. They don't really know what the fuck they're doing, and they're like, man, you know what? I'm gonna learn to tattoo. I'm gonna make a shitload of money. I'm gonna be a tattoo artist. And they come walking in here talking about, I want to apprentice, you know. And I'm like, well, let me see some of your art, you know. And they'll bring their phone out and they'll have like a drawing or two, you know what I mean? Or just very little shit. And I'm like, man, you know, I'll tell them in a nice way, like, you know, I want to see a gang of shit. I want to see stuff you're doing in pencil, pen, different color pens, you know, paint, you know, watercolors, fucking charcoal, you know. I want to see that you're making wood shit or pinstriping a car or you know, anything that you're an artist. I don't even care if you're good. You could suck. I don't care because we'll teach you that. But I want to know that you're truly an artist, you know. That's big, you know. If I don't feel you're truly an artist, it's over right then, you know. Now, if I feel you truly, like a guy came here just last week, and he was truly an artist, you know, but he might see this, but I also know he was tweaking, you know. Can't do it, man. You know what I mean? Like, I felt bad because he was somebody that I would fucking think about fucking with. He was truly an artist, you know. He had all kinds of shit, you know. The only problem is I couldn't look through it because he was going so fast. He kept grabbing, you know, and yeah, and he had some pretty weird shit to say too. But yeah, you know, you got to be truly an artist first and foremost, you know. That's number one, you know. And then all the other shit, you know. You can't be strung out. You can't be acting like you're in prison. You can't be a condescending prick, you know. All the same shit as if an artist walked in here, you know. But like I said, as far as their actual art skills, it's always better if they have them. But most part, you know, as long as you're truly an artist and you get down, we'll teach you, you know. And yeah, we've had a few, you know, both the other guys that work here right now, both apprenticed here. They're both successful. We've had, man, a few artists that are out in the world that are very successful right now, who apprenticed here, you know. And yeah, you know, out of everybody that came, apprenticed or whatever, and has left, good with all of them except for one, you know, only one who, whatever, you know. But yeah, you know, man, that's the main thing. Is just be truly an artist, you know, not some desperate person, you know, that thinks they could just come do this like they're gonna be making money in 6 months, you know. Yeah, it's like, fuck you, man, you know. Get out of here. I have a couple Hawks, Cheyenne Hawk. I have the OG Cheyenne Hawk, and I have the Sol Nova. I also use the Bishop Wand, and then I have a Dridgenberg set coils, and then another set of coils that Eric had one of his boys make them for me. They're badass. But I use the rotaries more than anything else. I like the wand. It's a 4.2. So is my Cheyenne Hawks. But the wand hits a little bit harder, so I use that for certain things. And I use I was using the Sol Nova earlier, and that one doesn't hit quite as hard. I mean, it's hard enough. You can still do lines with it. But yeah, I use the rotaries more than anything else. And then I started fucking with the batteries, for conventions, and it just makes it so much easier. So I use the batteries here too, except for when I'm using the coils, yeah, as far as inks and stuff, kind of just like everybody else, Eternal, Fusion, Dynamic. I seen I just got a Revolution ink set from Nico, and yeah, just a few weeks ago he gave me it, and I like it a lot. I haven't used all the colors yet, but and I haven't used the black yet, but I'm going to. Everything I've used, so I don't know, man. I might be turning into a Revolution guy, but like Fusion, Eternal, Dynamic, those are like old faithfuls to me. And actually Solid ink's pretty fucking good too. That white piece I was telling you, I used Solid on that. I used another ink that I like a lot too for the white. I'm not going to say because I like the Solid better, so I don't want to disrespect them because their ink is still good. But yeah, I ran out of ink, and so the type that I usually use, I ran out of white, and so I grabbed a Solid white off of the supply guy, and I used it, and it held even better than the regular white I would use. And even my client noticed it too. He said, "Hey man, you see that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it was funny because I was just making a joke a couple weeks ago. I said, "Looks like I'm a Solid guy now, at least when it comes to white." One thing I learned is that when you have good equipment, it makes a difference. Like I remember when the Hawk first came out, people were like, "Man, it does the tattoo for you," Right when I heard that, you know what I mean? I went back to it with my hard-headed bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, fuck that machine. I don't want to hear it does that tattoo for you, And no way, calm down. You know what I mean? And so I used it one day, and I was like, whoa. I guess I could see why they say that. I mean, of course, it doesn't do it, but it's pretty sweet. You know what I mean? It's pretty nice. And, yeah, I got turned out right then and there when I used it the one time. And I had 3 of them at one time. I had the pin, too, but it broke. Yeah. But, yeah, I try to use good equipment. I think it makes a big difference. Very important. Yeah, very important. Yeah, shout out to Uncle Jeremy, everybody at Solon. Uncle Jeremy actually worked on this tattoo. Yeah, that's pretty cool, huh? Fucking Joker from Boulevard Tattoos did in San Diego, did most of it, and I remember because I wanted to get the badge, and so I was trying to think, how can I one up everybody, because everybody got the badge, they do it bitchin' ways, you know what I mean? So I asked Uncle Jeremy, will you do it? And he was like, man, I don't tattoo. I said, I don't care if it's fucked up, but you do it, And he said, well, this is what I'll do. I'll get one of our artists to do majority of it, and then I will work on it a little bit myself. And he said, you're going to be the 3rd person that I've done this for. And I was like, fuck yeah, And so, yeah, they filmed it. You know what I mean? Like, we did it at a convention over in Ventura. And, yeah, so that was pretty cool. He was so fucking scared. He was, like, shaking. And we're like, just do the shit, man. And he did good, you know. He did good. So that was cool, you know. Designing a shirt for them right now. And hopefully they like it, you know. That'll be the shit if they approve it and make a shirt for me, you know. Call the shop here. Instagram. You could go to the Instagram, Socal_tattoos. Those are the best ways. You know, and there's 2 Socal tattoos in LA, you know. There's one in Wilmington, and they're, you know, shout out and respect to them. You know, they were actually there before us. I want to say we were there before them, but we weren't. They were there first. And that's why we're Socal Tattoo and Art Gallery, because we couldn't just only be Socal Tattoo, you know, because they have it. And it's funny, you know, there's been a couple of times where I had a client, you know, and it was the first time they were coming. They like called and made an appointment, or you know what I mean? And so they call me and they're like, hey man, you know, I'm in Wilmington and they say that I'm at the wrong place, you know? And I'm like, oh, fuck, dog, you're like an hour off, especially with traffic, you know? But that's happened a few times, and a couple times someone's walked in here, supposed to go there, you know? And it's a trip because I know people that used to work at that Socal, but I don't know who works there now, you know? But every time we had someone accidentally go there, they didn't try to snake them. They were like, oh man, you're way off, Jack. You gotta, you know, they're in the valley, you know? And so yeah, like that's cool, you know, because they could very easily be like, man, those motherfuckers stealing our name, you know what I mean? Like, hey, those dudes suck. Come sit right here. I got you. You know what I mean? Like, they could very easily have done that, and they don't, you know. So, like I said, shout out to them. Much respect to them, and I'll never say nothing but anything good about them, you know. Yes, of course, they started saying bad shit about them and then about us, and then, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I don't have beefs with other shops. You know, another shop opened up really close to us, and when people were calling me like, "Hey, fool, what you gonna do, man? You gonna blow that shit up? You know, this and that." And I was like, "No, man, I don't give a fuck." You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. You know, everyone's getting tatted, and they're a different style shop than we are here. Yeah, so it, you know, it didn't bother me. But let's say it was 2000 or in the 90s, which I wasn't even here in the 90s. But back then, maybe I would have been kind of supposed to do something. You know what I mean? But yeah, when they did it, though, when people were calling me and they were calling Eric, and we were like, if you feel so fucking strongly about it, go do something, because we don't really care, you know. Yeah, good luck to them, you know. Those days are kind of over. It's a different industry now, you know. I remember those days, you know, and were you gonna ask for permission to open a shop? Well, I never felt the need to ask anybody, you know. But I remember when that was going on, you know, and there was a tattoo shop that I guess they were paying a certain group of people, you know, and we were opening up a shop, and they went and told a group of people that they were paying, like, suck 'em on us, you know, and they actually came, you know, and we told them to fuck off, you know, and they did, you know, they did, and nothing happened, you know. And when I seen that, I knew it was just a good old fashioned prison pressure move. If we would have been dumb enough to give them money, they would have took it. did they really have the time to start beefing with us? Because we were more than willing to beef back with them. And we let them know. Like, I don't think they were scared of us, but I don't think they really gave a fuck enough. Like I said, if we were dumb enough to give them the money. Maybe other parts of the country, even California, that might still go on. I don't know. But I know yeah, especially the shop, too. It was close to my neighborhood, too. And I told the guy, the only time I ever see you guys around here is when you're buying crack. You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here. And yeah, they weren't going to be the ones. That's for sure. But yeah, it's different now. You know what I mean? It's different. The days where you treated apprentices like shit. Like we had an old school dude came to work here one time. This was maybe 7, 8 years ago, and he only lasted like not even 2 weeks. He came over here and he started riding on our apprentice, riding on her, and then he was acting like he's gonna beat her up, So I fired him, and after I fired him, he sent me this book like of a text, you know what I mean, on how I'm supposed to treat apprentices, you know what I mean. And I told him the same thing. I don't think I responded to his text, but when I told him here, miss me with that, I'm not gonna dog them out, you know what I mean. Like yeah, it was a trip. Like those days pretty much over. Just call over here, call to the shop, call to the shop, or a message on the Instagram. Sometimes I'm not the best at returning the messages, but if you call, I'll for sure, yeah, that's it. Call and I'll talk to you. We'll figure out what it is you want to do, when I could get you in. It's typically about a month wait.
Because your appointments, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll do a walk-in, but it doesn't happen very often because I'm usually working, yeah, it's usually just because I'm working. If, like when I do one, like, I don't know, like a month ago, some lady came in, she wanted a little tattoo, and my appointment wasn't until 4 that day. So I was like, fuck it, let's do it, but unless it's something like that, it's just pretty much by appointment, and yeah, we'll just cut it up, figure out what you want to do, get it together. Just call over here or send a message, we also have a website, Socal Tattoos, and I think it's Socal Tattoo Tarzana. Don't use it that much, tell you the truth. You know what I mean? Mostly stuff's going through Instagram, Facebook even. The Instagram and the Facebook kind of linked. Socal_tattoos with an S at the end, tattoos. Yeah, that or either call the shop, and yeah, and it's Socal Tattoo and Art Gallery, and it's in Tarzana, California. Yeah, and just ask for me, Droops. It's all good. It's all good.